This video offers a short overview of Formulate and how to use it to build lists or sets logic for your reports and dashboards. The Formulate app in Pyramid is used for pro users to author and build a variety of advanced logical items that are then used elsewhere. This includes lists or sets, calculations, KPIs, parameters, custom visuals, and Python and R scripts. The logic built in Formulate is usually shareable and stored, like all other items in Pyramid, in the content management system. This means they can be versioned, secured, copied, and managed as first-class independent items, much like a report or a dashboard. In this video, we'll focus on the list toolset, which offers both a graphical and scripting interface for building logical lists of elements using the Prequel or MDX languages. Other videos will focus on the other Formulate tools, including Formula, which offers a mechanism to build calculations and formulas, KPIs, which offers a mechanism to build the multi-layered formulations to define key performance indicators, and parameters, which allow designers to build more complex flows into reports, dashboards, and any other calculation. To start a new list, open the Formulate module from the home page or from the App tab menu. Select List and then select a data model that the list will operate against. Generally, data sources are exposed based on your security access. The list workspace contains several items. At the top, we have the ribbon menu where you can access scripting mode, internal parameters, and jump buttons for adding more Formulate items. The large button in the top left-hand corner is used to run and test your list logic. The results are shown here in the preview panel on the right. Below the preview panel, we have list properties. On the left, we have a menu of all the relevant block functions we can use in our list logic, broken out into convenient categories. However, you can use the search option at the top here to find a function by name. There are two sets of functions, depending on your data source. For SQL data sources, the function library is made up of Prequel functions, while for MDX data sources, it's MDX and VBA functions. For lists, the function listing shows only block functions, which offer easy point-and-click access to functions with graphical objects. Hovering over a function will show you a tooltip that explains the function and what it can be used for. And last is the list canvas, where your list logic is written or built. To see the list tools in action, let's start building an ultra-simple list of elements. We can start by dragging the standard list function block onto the canvas. From here, we need to choose the hierarchy and the elements that will comprise our basic listing from the panel below, which shows our entire data model's metastructure. In this case, we'll choose the state hierarchy from the customer dimension. If we click the large button, we'll see a preview of our list in the preview panel on the top right. And clicking on the syntax preview, we can see the underlying Prequel script needed. Here we are saying to bring back all members from the state hierarchy. Next, we're going to start adding some logic into our list. Let's start by dragging a non-empty filter onto the canvas. Notice that the graphical interface presents the list as a workflow of steps. The non-empty filter says to filter out any items in our standard list that are empty when crossed with the selections in our filter. To demonstrate this, let's pick the country hierarchy from the customer's dimension and then pick United States from the hierarchy's member elements. We'll also choose the sales metric from the measures listing. If we run the preview now, you'll see that our original list of all states in the database across multiple countries has been paired back to just US states that had sales in them. In effect, all non-US states are empty when the country selected is the USA. In this way, it's like finding all US states. Next, we'll add a sorting method, we'll drag the Order by Label block, and below we'll choose to order the states in descending direction. Hitting preview, we notice that Wyoming and Wisconsin are now at the top of the list. Finally, let's add the first filter block and set it to 5 below. You can see our resulting list is now the last 5 US states. Looking at the syntax preview, we can better understand the complexities of building this list in code. Let's save our list, and then click the Quick Discovery button to use the list in a new report. Here we'll add the sales measure and flip this to a column chart, and also save our report. Importantly, the list definition used in this report is independent of the report itself. This list can now be saved and reused multiple times by multiple users in multiple reports, visualizations, or other logical functions. If an authorized user then decides to update the list definition, all downstream content that uses this list will update accordingly. To demonstrate this, let's return to our separate list definition in the Orange tab. We'll delete the sort block by clicking the X, and then we'll inject an order by value sort by dropping it in between the non-empty and first blocks. Now we'll choose to sort using the expenses metric based on the reseller promotion category. Further, we'll change our first 5 to first 10. Clicking preview, we get a completely different result. I'll save the updated list definition and then return to our green Discover tab with our earlier report. Rerunning the report with the Execute button, you'll notice it changes accordingly to reflect our new list and logic. In the next example, we're going to amp up our list logic with some more powerful features. Let's start by duplicating our original list. Then let's delete all the function blocks except the original standard listing. Now let's drag an if forking function to the canvas. The if provides a way to conditionally change our listing logic. So let's choose margin from measures to define a data point for the if. In the arguments panel, we're going to choose the greater than comparison. Instead of typing in a hard-coded value, we're going to choose to parameterize the setting. Parameters provide a technique to let end users change values from the report or dashboard when it's running. So let's create a parameter here on the fly. We'll type in the name margin threshold and choose free input as the type. We want to handle any numeric value and set our default value to be 0.25 or 25% margin. Next, we're going to add a top count filter to the true branch of the if and a bottom count filter to the false branch of the if. For the number of items on the top count, we'll again use a parameter. Clicking create, choosing continuous and leaving all the standard inputs, except we'll set the default value to 3. This means the user can pick any value between 1 and 10 using a graphic slider input. For the top count numeric data point, we'll just choose the sales metric. For the bottom count, we'll parameterize the number of items and just reuse the parameter we created before, so it will be dual purpose. For the numeric data point, we'll select the cost metric. Last, we'll save our list and then do a quick discovery to see it in action. We immediately see 3 states selected with 2 inputs on the screen, one for the margin threshold and one for the number of items. Let's add a few measures to the grid: expenses, overhead, sales, and net profit. Now let's slide the number of states to view. The slider parameter is changing the list, which in turn is changing the query and its results. Next, let's change the margin threshold to 0.5, and suddenly we're seeing a different list of states, since the if condition has triggered the false branch, and we're now looking at the bottom state list. In the last segment, we're going to create a list using the advanced scripting mode. To see it in action, let's start with a new list. However, we'll immediately switch to scripting mode. You'll notice that the formula canvas switches to a code editor. The block functions are removed since they're only useful in the graphical interface, and the data model metastructures is now always shown in the bottom of the panel. On the left, we now see the full prequel function listing, which is significantly bigger than the block listing of the graphical interface. The functions are broken into categories, and hovering over them will show you a rich tooltip that shows its syntax and explains what the function can be used for. Right-clicking on the function will show a context-sensitive help menu. Now we can start typing in the code editor. If we hold the Control key down with the space bar, we're prompted with all the functions that match the mask. Let's select the range function. To complete this function, we need to provide it with a start and ending member. The function will then produce a list of all members between them. So let's highlight the first member argument in the editor. Now we'll go to the meta trees below, open the transaction dimension, then the full month hierarchy, and select May 2018. We'll use this exact process for the second member argument, choosing April 2020. Clicking the preview button, we can see that we have a range of months between our two chosen selections. For demo purposes, let's nest our script in a head function. Go to the start and type HEA, then Control space. We'll replace the list argument with our range function, and then replace the integer argument with 6. This effectively returns the first 6 items from the provided list. This completes our overview of the list tools in Formulate, highlighting some of its core functions and capabilities. For a deeper review of these features and many items not included in this video, check the video tutorial section in Online Help or follow our blog series on the community forum.